Alright guys, welcome to another episode of the Get a Life podcast. Here at 1UP Games, I'm Nick, this is
Tim,
and we're gonna blow your effing minds. I'm trying not to swear as much. Fuck it, I'm gonna swear anyway. So I wanted to start off on a positive note for once and mention one of my favorite video game related movies, which is King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters, which is talking about
a really good movie.
The arcade monster that is the original Donkey Kong, and in a little bit of Donkey Kong Jr. because they both were kind of clashing at that.
While we're on the topic of King of Kong and arcades, favorite arcade game? Is yours Donkey Kong?
Classic arcade?
Yeah, the OG?
OG is Donkey Kong without a doubt. If you have not seen this film, it follows Billy Mitchell.
If everything's rolling my way, if all these balls have bounced in my favor, there's some poor bastard out there who's getting the screws put to him.
Which was the voted gamer of the century, is the first person to get the perfect Pac-Man score, and he's a fantastic,
really crazy to watch.
Fantastic video game player. Like, applause to Billy Mitchell, but he plays, basically they made him the villain in this film, which, I mean, I still will watch this movie and be like, I want to knock his teeth out. But he has so many amazing quotes in that film.
Yeah.
And he just plays the villain, even though he wasn't probably trying to be the villain, of course, because this guy has actually done a lot with Twin Galaxies and helping out collectors, helping keep classic gaming alive and relevant. And a lot of people do owe a lot to Billy Mitchell. But even saying that and knowing that truthfully, I've watched this movie at least a dozen times. I still think he's kind of a dick a little bit, because in the film he's just a dick. Like, he puts his foot in his mouth so much. But then our knight in shining armor is Steve Wiebe. And he's just awesome. He's just like that lovable guy that always gets second place, and you just want him to win. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but just watch it. King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. Buy that movie.
It's a good documentary.
What do you have any that you can think of?
Video game documentaries?
Yeah, or anything like that.
Indie Game the Movie.
Indie Game the Movie
is a good documentary.
Really good, man. It was cool to see those guys, you know.
And then they made the follow-up, Life After, which
was all right.
It was okay. Something kind of tells me they were trying to capitalize on the success of Indie Game the Movie, and it was really long, kind of random. But it was cool to see that those people that, like, basically went insane over the development of these video games.
Well, the sacrifice that you have to do when you're doing an independent game too, because I mean, it's a team
especially when
sometimes
you're
of just one
it's
or two
a team
people.
of 1 to 2 people.
It's crazy, and it takes years to do. I mean, and like, I know Phil Fish, who is the creator, the developer of a fantastic video game, Fez, which we both enjoy immensely. A lot of people, like, and I was one of them, you were one of them, you probably still are, we thought that he was just a dick, like a huge douchebag, because you read all this stuff on the internet of what he's saying and the comments he leaves, but watching Indie Game the Movie, Life After, like, I understand Phil. Like, he's just giving basically what we're doing right now. He's just giving his opinion. It's not right. It's not wrong. But nobody's right or wrong. It's just your opinion on something. And because this guy is so opinionated, people blow it way out of proportion.
I don't dislike or hate Phil Fish.
I'd have a beer with him.
I think he made a really good game. Fez, out of all 3 of the games that documentary primarily follows, Fez is my favorite. No, I have nothing against Phil Fish. I know that he said a lot of really messed up stuff, and it's mostly just in defense of things people have said about him.
Guy has a right to defend himself.
Nobody's really right. The douchebags that say mean things to him are no better than him replying back saying other mean things. So I have nothing against Phil Fish. I hope he makes Fez 2.
I hope he makes Fez 2.
I think secretly he's making it. He just doesn't want to say it because it took him so long to make the first one, and he had to delay it a number of times, and that pissed a lot of people off. So I think secretly he's working on Fez 2.
Rock on.
I hope that he is.
Another one that I really like is Ecstasy of Order. It's the Tetris documentary.
It is good. That's a good one.
Where they basically have a final tournament to figure out who is the world's greatest Tetris player once and for all. And it was awesome to see Thor Ackerland, who was the Nintendo World Championships winner back in the day, play in the tournament. Yeah, you could tell that he wasn't really into it. It's just a very shy, kind of humble, nice dude. I actually met him just recently, and I got to watch him play Tetris, which was a delight.
No, I didn't.
And I even got to ask him what his favorite. If I said this to everybody at once at the convention, like if you were on an island for a year with the NES, what 3 games would you bring? And I can't really remember what he said, but I think he said Batman, RC Pro-Am, and I think it was Tetris. Yeah. So yeah, I did remember what Thor said.
I'm sure it's.
But I asked everybody. I asked the Game Chasers. I asked Pat the NES Punk. I asked Gamester81. I asked Metal Jesus Rocks, Alpha Omega Sin, and it was cool, like, to hear a lot of the responses. And it was cool that Pat said Super Dodgeball, because that is on my top 5 favorite NES games of all time.
What did he give that in his book?
I don't know, but fucking he gave Home Alone 1.5 stars.
Video game documentaries. Well, I haven't seen it. Are we exclusively talking about good ones?
Be bad.
Okay, so I haven't seen this movie, but one of our customers was messaging me about it, saying he checked it out based on hearing you talk about it in the store.
Okay.
You were telling me about it. My brother has seen it and didn't like it. What is it called? Because I can't even think of what it's called.
It's so forgettable that I think it's called Nintendo Quest.
Nintendo Quest, yeah.
I think that's what it's called. I watched this movie just last night, and I wanted to enjoy it. Now, there are things about the movie that I do like. But I'm not going to talk about those. And here's the challenge if you don't know the premise of this film. They have 30 days to collect an entire NES library. Now, that's without, like, the Polynesian games. I mean, we're talking NTSC, like, carts. This does include Little Samson, and it does include stadium events.
Can't believe it includes stadium events.
They have 30 days to do it. They cannot use eBay or basically the internet or anything like that. They need to go and do it old school. They're going to these video game stores, basically telling them that they're doing this documentary and that they're expecting this huge fucking hookup to do it, which just completely makes this movie garbage. Because they're not collecting the stuff like how everybody would normally do it. Having to pay the prices that retail is setting it at. This movie pissed me off so much because the director guy was such an asshole, like saying like, oh, this, like, okay, there's like a normal collector guy who goes to a normal store and was told in advance that there was a guy bringing in a huge NES trade.
Who was told?
So, okay, here we go.
The director was told.
No. They go to this game store, this like local game store in the area, and at this local game store, they have a guy who comes in like what we have, like our normal guys who come in every single week looking for newer stuff. Mm-hmm. They knew that there was this big NES trade coming in on said day. The collector guy, who's a regular at this store, knew about this trade coming in, so he was there. He was there when they opened, like what you do if you want to get a game that you need off of your list. And they made fun of this guy and basically called him names, said he was a dick, and he could be a dick, I don't know, because they didn't show him enough. And said like, oh, that guy got the games that way, because he got a Jetsons game. The Jetsons game on the NES, it's an expensive game.
Oh, with his trade?
Well, the collector guy who is the normal guy who goes around, he bought that game before they could, and they needed that one off to check off the list.
Okay. You know what? I enjoy watching Game Chasers. I enjoy watching Pat.
Yeah.
But they do the same thing. They go into a store, they shove a camera in the employee or the owner's
And
face.
if you don't give them a deal,
they're
gonna berate you.
basically beg you for a deal. And there is a Game Chasers episode out there in which Pat does this on camera. He looks like a total punk, and he is the NES punk, but he looks like a flippin' dick because he goes up to somebody at a convention and says, "Oh,
Even if I
you
can give
won't
you a
give
bunch
me
of
this
plugs?"
TurboGrafx 16 for the price I want to pay, even though thousands of people are going to see this on the internet,
It
and
was
we're
at
going to
PAX.
plug your store."
It was at PAX. Yeah.
Dude, screw that. I don't care. I don't even...
I'm not here. I have to feed my child. You have to feed your kids. I have to keep the electricity on. You are going to come to this store one time. One time. Yes, if I give you a hookup, you might put it on YouTube. It might get hundreds of thousands of views. Then every customer who comes into the store is expecting those deals. We cannot give those deals to everybody.
They want those
And
deals,
then
and they want
they're
the
like,
back room tour, too.
We're your regulars, man. Like we give you business all the time. I bring in trades all the time. Why didn't you hook me up like you hooked those guys up? It's fucking politics, man. It's Pat. It's Billy and Jay.
Yeah, man, we just did it because we wanted to plug on YouTube.
Nintendo Quest pissed me off. Skip it. Go watch King of Kong.
Not even Helen of Troy had that much attention.